Hello, I thought I'd make a quick vlog. And tonight I am just thinking about, the past and Fiona a little bit. I don't want anyone to be sad. I was very upset, but I'm over it. And Fiona went to a very good home where she was walked every single day and she had lots of love. Lots of love. I made sure because I received pictures and notices and stories from the person who adopted her out for me. So, but while she was with me, I'll just tell you a few things about while she was with me. She was so cute. I saw her in the pet store and she just caught my eye. And I asked to hold her, and when I held her, she just put her little head on my shoulder and she just was so calm. I walked around with her and I said, "Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute." But I couldn't afford her right then. So I put her back and I went home and I told my sister, "You have to get this dog for me because I have something going on tomorrow or whenever." It was a few days later. "I have something going on, but you have to get this dog for me. Make sure you get her." And so I went and I had some things to take care of, and she went to the pet store and brought her back. And when I got home, she was there. Oh, she was so cute. She was so cute. She was so tiny and so little curly black hair. She was adorable. She was adorable. And Petey was still at the house because my sister and I lived together. She she would bark at Petey and try to fight with him because she was going to be a small dog, a Scotty, of course. So she barked at him and bit his ankles and stuff. And Petey would just be like, "Mm, mm." And then we would take him for walks. And Fiona if would walk alongside Petey. And if I walked a little faster with Fiona and my sister walked a little slower with Petey, Fiona would turn around and wait for Petey. She loved Petey. And we had a fence in the backyard, but there was a hole in the fence in the backyard. So the dogs often would get out of the backyard and wander all over the neighborhood, and I'd have to go around in my car and try to find them. And I finally found them once in the backyard behind mine, and if I could catch them quickly enough, I could always catch them in that backyard, but sometimes they would just go, just wander. They were so adventurous, and that was another dynamic duo. That was another dynamic duo because Fiona was so attached to Petey. And Petey was attached to her too. And so, when my sister moved out, I got rid of Petey. I didn't get rid of Petey. My sister took Petey because Petey was her dog. So she had to take him. And Petey was just so sweet. He was, he was oh my goodness, he was a wild dog, but the sweetest dog in the world. The sweetest dog in the world. And I was looking up, before I continue with Fiona, I'll just say a few things about Petey. We didn't know what he was, but I think he may have had some ridgeback. I think that's what they're called in him, some ridgeback. And uh, some lab. I'm not sure. But I'm not sure what he was mixed with, but we got a dog that was, we weren't prepared. We were not prepared for Petey. Anyways, but at least he had Fiona. And we actually got Fiona to keep Petey company so he wouldn't be alone in the house because we were really busy. We took time with him and we were home, but we really were busy. I mean, we had full-time jobs and, things to do after work. So we had to make sure Petey could get out. I always came home and let him out, and we had to make sure he wasn't alone that whole time. So he had Fiona, and when Petey left, I got married, and Fiona. Well, when Petey left to go to my sister's house, I was alone in the house because my sister moved out because I was going to get married. And so it was Fiona and me. And that was such a great time. We bonded so much. We bonded so much. Fiona and I, and then it was us. We were the dynamic duo. Fiona and me. Fiona and I were the dynamic duo. I mean, I took her everywhere. She was my sweet little dog. And, I just took her everywhere. And she would, like, when I was lying down, I'd fall asleep. And then she would crawl on top of me. And I'm like, when I woke up, she was like snuggled up on me. And I'm like, oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. But Fiona was adorable. She was adorable. And I put music on one night and she was standing in front of me and I started dancing and she danced too. So we danced together for a long time. Over and over again, I would put the music on and Fiona and I would dance. She was that kind of dog. So sweet. We danced. And she was a very special dog. She was a very special dog. She never chewed. She never went through a chewing phase. And we had a big overstuffed chair with a huge overstuffed cushion. And she would crawl up on that chair and lie and sleep sometimes, because she was always near me, sleep sometimes on top of that cushion. So she was so cute. She was so adorable. She really was. She was adorable. And everyone loved her. Everyone loved Fiona. The groomers always talked about how sweet she was. They loved Fiona. They always complimented Fiona. And, all of my friends at the time said they loved Fiona and Fiona this and Fiona that. And I would hold her. Well, I don't want to say that because it might be a copyright infringement. So I'm not going to say it. But I would sing to her and I'd use her name in it. So it was so cute. It was so cute. So, my Sharona. Okay, da-da-da-da-da-da. My Sharona. I would replace Sharona with Fiona. I hope that's not a copyright infringement. Anyways, so that's what I would do. And she and I became so attached during that time when I lived alone and it was just us. We were so attached and we went for walks all the time, 2-mile walks. And now I know I should have checked how much exercise Scotty's needed. I know that now because she was always very tired and almost couldn't make it the 2 miles. So now I know to check before I get another dog on how much exercise they need. So she was so cute. She was so cute. And then I got married, and Dave wanted a Scotty, so we got another Scotty, and they cuddled together and they played together, and that was another dynamic duo because those two would wander the neighborhood too. They would get out, and one of the neighbors, they had tags on them, and they always went a different way. Petey and Fiona went to around the block behind the house, and Bonnie and Fiona went in front of the house and around the other block. So the neighbor around the other block, I guess they would always stop at that house, or they were always out working on the yard. But the neighbor around the other block would always call and say, "You're missing your dogs." And I'd always have to go pick them up. What? Well, how did they get out? Where are they? You know. So they were very cute. Bonnie was adorable too. Bonnie was adorable. But Bonnie was Dave's dog, and Dave took Bonnie when he left. And I wrote something about her. Bonnie with the fluffy paws. She was so cute. She was so cute. And then right before Dave left, I purchased a Chihuahua, and her name was Delilah. So Delphi, remember Delphi? Delilah. And she was so cute. She was such a character. Oh my goodness. That dog was a character. She was a character. And she licked and licked and licked, and I'm like, no, no, no. I had to keep saying no, but I still let her give me kisses. So, just not like, so. Anyway, and Fiona would give me little kisses. I'd be like, "Fiona, give me little kisses." She was so cute. She was so cute. And Fiona and Delilah, they did not get along. Those two dogs did not get along. So I was always stuck with, trying to give them both attention, and you know that story, but I'm not going to get into that now because that's sad. I want to talk about happy things. So when we were in the house, there was plenty of room, so they never got on top of each other or on each other's nerves because one could go one way and one could go the other way. Yeah, but when we moved to New York, we had a studio apartment. So I went from a four bedroom to with a backyard and grass lawns and all that to walk Fiona and Delilah to a studio apartment. And they were always on top of each other, always fighting and fighting and fighting. And I would try to walk them, but there was no grass anywhere. There was no grass, and I felt terrible for them. That's why, I'll get to the part why it's okay that she was adopted out. So, oh my gosh. Delilah had a tiny little tennis ball because she was a Chihuahua, and I would give it to her, and she would chew on it, and I would throw it and throw it and throw it and throw it. And that dog seemed to never get tired. And then when she finally relaxed, she'd have the toy ball in her mouth, and Fiona would come by and grab it away from her and take it and chew on it. Although Fiona had her own favorite toys, but Fiona took it away from Bonnie, and Bonnie would just look upset and cry, and then I'd take it back from Fiona and give Fiona one of her toys, and then Fiona would just take it away from her again. that was my life. Over and over again. Over and over again. Fiona just taking the toys away from Bonnie, even though she had tons of toys and I played with her toys too. And I bought them Kongs. Those were a lifesaver. Those really were a lifesaver because they were the spiral Kongs that you could put peanut butter in, but I was using peanut butter, but then I decided to buy the Kong peanut butter, which was especially made for dogs. And so I would put it inside each Kong and give them their Kongs, and it took them a while to get all the peanut butter out. And that gave me a break. That gave me a break because, oof, talk about dogs that were so high maintenance once we were in New York. But they were on top of each other and they needed walks. So when I finally was able, I didn't want to give Fiona away, but I had to. I had to. And she went to a home with a nice big backyard and walks all the time with tree lawns and, walked every single day. Once again, she finally could get walked every day. And she was happy. She was happy. I saw pictures and and like I said, I got stories and everything. Delilah went to a very nice woman, an extremely nice woman, and I went to visit her. She had puppies, and I went to visit her after she had the puppies, and they were Maltese because when she was never fixed because there was no time. When I had her, we were right about to get when I bought her and I had her as a dog. We were right about to get divorced, so it was a very sad time. It was a very, very sad time. So I did not have her fixed, and then when I got to New York, I didn't have her fixed. I just didn't. So when I moved out of my apartment, I gave her to my ex-boyfriend to take care of until I could take her back or find a home for her. Actually, so I could find a home for her because there was no one wanted to take her that I knew. And he couldn't keep her because he was watching a Maltese. So that's what happened. And he wasn't fixed either. And so things happened and Delilah got pregnant. And I didn't know. I had no idea she was pregnant with puppies. I had no idea. None. And so I gave her to a woman who she said she'd hold her for me until I could get back on my feet and then I could have her back. So I said, okay. So that's why I went to visit her. So anyway, she gave me reports on her all the time. And one day she called, I was sleeping, and she called like 15 times. And when I saw 15 missed phone calls from her, and I became very, very scared. I said, what happened to Fiona? So I called her, and Fiona had puppies. So I went to go visit the puppies, and I don't know. I loved the puppies, but I was more interested in Delilah. Fiona had puppies. Delilah had puppies. So I was more interested in Delilah. And they were Maltese. The puppies were Maltese and adorable. Adorable. And that's the last of it because I couldn't bring her home. And I couldn't bring her home because the puppies were too young. The puppies were way too young to be transported, and she wanted to keep the puppies, and because she promised them out or she sold them, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter to me, because I would have taken them, but they were worth money, and people had their hearts set on the puppies, so And because she stepped in and helped me out so much, I said, well, she can. And I came home, but I was in the middle of a nervous breakdown. So when she called me to tell me that I needed to come get my puppy, it didn't register in my mind. And she gave Delilah to a family with kids, and then she lost track. So I never knew what happened to Delilah. I don't. But I think she crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. So, and so did Fiona. Frida's still with us. So, and anyway, and so about the dogs, dogs are important in our family, you know. Colette was a dog we had when we were growing up, and my father brought her home when I was 6 years old, and she died when I was 20. So, I mean, all of my formative years, she was there. She was there. She was so important to the family. She was such a sweet dog. And I'll talk about Colette later on. So, Frenchie, I know people are wondering, who's Frenchie? Frenchie's a dog we had as very young children, but my parents didn't keep her. She was a poodle. But my parents didn't keep her because something about she was hard to control. So we only have we had a few pictures of Frenchie and with us and in the house and stuff. And then I don't know who she went to. So, and Fergie and Petey. Once Petey left, Fergie became the dynamic duo with Petey. So they loved each other. And Petey would lie on the floor, and he was like this with Fiona too. Fergie loved other dogs. Loved them. He would light up when another dog came into the room. He loved other dogs. So it was good that Petey went to go live with my sister because Fergie needed another animal in the house. So Petey would lie on the floor, and Fergie would try to cuddle up to him, and Petey would be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But he let him. The way he let Fiona. Fiona would try to cuddle up to Petey, and Petey would really like, growling a little bit, snapping a little bit, but nothing big, so nothing major. But they loved each other. Petey and Fergie loved each other, and they became their own dynamic duo. So they were so great. They were so great together. And one day, my parents were over my sister's house and left the door open. And at this time, I had my father's dog, Hunter. I was just holding on to him for him that day. And I had Hunter, who had been living with my sister for a little while and came to live with me for a little while. And I had Delilah and Fiona. And Fiona had lived with my sister for a little while too. So Fergie knew both of them. Fergie knew both Hunter and Fiona, and he was attached to both of them. So one moment I opened the door and I saw Fergie walking down the street. I said, what is going on? Why is Fergie walking down the street? So I let, which one did I let out? I let Hunter out. I let Hunter out to make sure that Fergie, once he got to my house, would see that Hunter was out and would come in. So he did. As soon as he saw Hunter, he came to the door and I let them both in. And then, see, Fergie had a good day. But my mother was already on the phone with my sister telling her that she lost her dog, and my sister was about to go into a meeting, and she was already starting to freak out and didn't know how she was going to handle the meeting when I called her and I said, Linda, I have your dog. So it was all right. But could you imagine that? Your dog, someone calls you, your dog's missing, and they don't know where it is. So Fergie was a Scottie too, and Hunter was a Dutch hound, a long-haired Dutch hound, and Colette was a Cocker Spaniel poodle mix, a Cocker Spaniel poodle mix. So, and Petey, well, you know, Delilah was a Chihuahua, Fiona was a Scottie, Fergie was a Scottie, Bonnie was a Scottie. But because Bonnie went with Dave, I don't count her as playing in heaven with Diego. Okay, and the rest of the dogs, because Dave had his own family, and I'm sure Bonnie is with his mother and father, who loved Bonnie, and they're playing with him. Okay, and I'm sure in heaven, Bonnie gets to play with Fiona again. I'm sure of it. And I'm sure Bonnie gets to play with everyone. That is, if she's passed. I don't know if she's still alive. But when she goes to heaven, if she hasn't, she'll be playing with everyone. All right. And I just want to talk about my dogs because I know I mentioned them a lot. That I'll be playing in heaven with Diego. But, so now, the symbol. And the reason I'm talking about this is because the symbol. I thought I'd call it Delphi, but that's already taken by so many other things. And I think there's a Greek symbol called Delphi. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. Or Latin symbol, maybe? Okay, Latin symbol. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know Latin and I don't know Greek. So I don't know. But, so for the symbol of the circle, I need to draw one so I can hold it up. But for that symbol, I am going to call it D-Free. Diego and Frida. D-Free. That was the last dynamic duo. And they were so cute together. Diego's playing in heaven right now. And I'm sure he's hanging out with Frida during the day. So she's not alone. Frida's not alone, okay? Frida has company. Frida has my men. Okay. Frida has my men there. She's not alone. Okay, well, that makes me feel better, too. And I'm sure Diego is there, too, in spirit, and hanging out with her, too. And I'm sure she knows he's there. Anyway, and so D-Free, and then if you pronounce it differently, it's die-free, you know? So, I don't know. But I call it D-Free. So, that's what I call my symbol. D-Free. Die-free, you know? D-Free. So, on that note, I'm going to end this vlog, and I'm going to say I hope everybody watching has a great evening tonight, and things go your way. All right, bye.